Welcome to the News Review segment. My guest joining me in studio this morning, we have Mr. Dickson Tredia. He's a member of Parliament for Boku West. And we have Nana Sapong from the Movement of Change and Dr. Benny Asha, a lecturer at UPSA. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I always like that I get to be the only woman among men, mostly on the News Review segment. So, thank you. I don't know why that is important, but I had to say that out loud.
Very important.
Yeah. And yeah,
it shows the level of your power, and you know, mostly women would tend to shy away from groups where men are predominant.
Really, that's my crowd. I mean, I'm just saying this because it makes me feel good. Yeah. I'm the only lady here this morning. But Nanaya,
that's woman power.
Thank you very much.
You are well protected.
I want to start with you, Nana Sapong. You know how we do it. Let's get into your thoughts for us. What has caught your attention that you want to reflect on this morning?
What really got my thoughts while coming here, two things. But I would deal with the one that has to do with the road ministry. I think yesterday I happened to have monitored the government accountability series, and the Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Governors Kwame Abuja.
Yeah.
Was it Abuja or Abuja? Abuja.
Yeah. Huawei, Daddy. Abuja.
No, I know you understand. Yeah. But this one is your. He actually made a call. Yes. Which is of great national concern. It's something that has been in my heart for a very long time. Contractors are given work to do. They pick consultants, the road and highways staff and the other agencies, their staff, they go for monitoring, they go for supervision. Yet we have shoddy work done. And these contractors do these works and take the monies and act as though they are not Ghanaians and they will not drive on those roads. I do not see why a 10-kilometer road will be given to a contractor. Money's paid, designs made, and yet that road that is supposed to last between 20 to 50 years does not stay even up to 3 years.
Yeah.
And this same road would end up causing a lot of accidents and taking lives. And it was a very good call by the and I think that I call him the fieldsman because I always see him on the field. And so I pray that he's able to crack the whip. And not only by his words. If the consultants who are supposed to have supervised and approved or consented to the job well done are not doing their work, their licenses whatsoever should be taken. If a contractor does a shoddy work, he should be sanctioned. If probably his certificates or licenses withdrawn from working, it would be very good for our country because our roads should be able to stay for that long.
Right. What I'm hearing you say is that we need better monitoring and evaluation systems when it comes to our roads. I
would also call on him to probably hold a national dialogue with stakeholders and all persons concerned to look at re-engineering our drainage and systems by the roadsides. I mean, it's also causing a lot of troubles. So once he's able to have a national dialogue with the engineers, the stakeholders, and the people concerned, then we will be able to look at whether or not we should have a redesign of our road network. Yes.
I mean, one of the fallouts from yesterday's presser was that, you know, the Eswal administration said they'd constructed the most, I think the largest number of roads.
The 10,000.
Yeah, something around 13,000 kilometers of road. Now, the minister is saying that he hasn't seen these roads. He cannot actually verify. And it's very interesting to hear this happen.
Yesterday, when he said that he can't find the 10,000 roads, of course, roads are visible. Once you say you have constructed, the minister, when he's gone around with his team, should be able to see them. Now, probably they would be...
When you say should be able to see them, do you mean they're there and he's just not...
If you're saying you have constructed them, he has gone around as a minister since he took office. And he is coming to report to Ghanaians that you said you have constructed 10,000. I have gone around the nation. I can't see the 10,000. And what I'm just saying is that probably, maybe they are at various levels of of completion.
Roads?
Maybe. No, I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
Okay.
Maybe there are various levels of completion.
Okay.
Otherwise, maybe they have also issued award letters and the contractors have not been to site.
Yeah.
So if you have issued and have not been to site, it doesn't mean you've constructed. And the other thing is that I would urge the minister to give us a detailed inventory of these roads that they are talking about. They should give us a detailed inventory. Because, I mean, following the proceedings in Parliament, I am also told that one of the MPs from the ex-Wal administration says that it's not even 10,000 they have constructed. They have done 13,000. 10,000, then he has added 3,000
All
to
right.
it. So at least an inventory
Yeah.
would help us.
All right. I mean, for me, the interesting point, again, is that the SO administration said they had constructed 3 times more roads than they came to meet under the first Mahama administration. And then the current roads minister says he can't find them.
See,
I understand that sometimes politics is just a game that you have to play. You have to do what you have to do, like minority walking out. All this is just politics, right? But where are the roads? And is this something we should be... Anyway, let me throw the ball to Mr. Ghc10m. Feel free to reflect on this road matter, but your initial reflections too are welcome.
Thank you very much, Fidi. Let me convey the utmost appreciation of the good people of Brekum West to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the Finance Minister, and of course, the Roads Minister for,
and I know where you're coming from.
For including the almighty Ghc10m
Road.
Sampa Road, the 80-kilometer stretch. You know, sweetie, I've been talking about this road for some time. And on March 14th, I remember, 2025, I invited the minister to answer an urgent question on the floor of Parliament. He assured me the road will be included in the projects listed for big push. Thankfully, when the finance minister came to the House, it was one of the major routes transversing through 4 major constituencies. My constituency, Brekum West, German South, German North, and of course, Brekum East, 80-kilometer stretch. So the good people have instructed me, they've directed me to express their appreciation on their behalf to the President and, of course, the Finance Minister and the Roads Minister. Having said that, sweetie, let me reflect on few important issues that have happened in Parliament that we're not talking about. Within 1 week, President Mahama, desirous of resetting this country and to fulfill the social contract he has with the good people of this country, 3 major bills have been passed. You know, last week we came here to talk about Mahama Care that deals with the non-communicable diseases, which accounts for 40% plus of deaths in this country. Are we still calling it
Mahama Care?
Ghana Medical Trust Fund Act.
Okay.
Passed. Fantastic one. Then, just last Tuesday, Road Maintenance Trust Fund Bill came in 2025, and that has been passed. The object of this bill is to deal with road maintenance across the country. You know, Ghana, our maintenance culture, we will build beautiful infrastructure, we will build beautiful roads, but no money to undertaking routine, regular maintenance. And the road minister brought this bill to Parliament under certificate of urgency, and by consensus, we have passed this very important bill into act. So we're now going to have dedicated funding to deal with road maintenance. That is very, very important. And yesterday, the Parliament once again approved by consensus the roads or projects listed under Big Push, and that is going to be a game changer. So the Big Push, simply put, is to address infrastructure gaps that we have, especially in road sectors, health sector, education. And this year, the President has committed to focus on the road sector. 13.8 billion allocated to deal with the road sector issues. And yesterday, Parliament gave approval to that. As I've indicated earlier on, my beloved Boku West has benefited Ghc10m Road. So that also came to Parliament yesterday. And today, we will finish with another important bill, that is Social Protection Bill 2025. And that bill seeks to provide social protection for people in extreme poverty, guarantee protection for destitute, and also establish institutional arrangements to provide for the chronically poor, economically at risk, and socially vulnerable persons in the society. You know, we have various social interventions addressing these issues, but the government wants to give legal backing to these social intervention programs. Let me admit here that this bill came to Parliament during the 8th Parliament. So under the MPP regime, the government brought this bill. It was not passed, and now it has found its way into the 9th Parliament. Right. And we are now, we finished with the consideration stage at the 3rd stage. So today, that will go. And under the bill, if you look at the Schedule 2, the flagship programs under this bill, LEAP, Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, Ghana School Feeding Program, Productive Inclusion, Labor-Intensive Public Works, National Health Insurance Exemption, Basic Education Capitation. So this is going to be a game changer. So within 1 week, Mahama Care has passed, Road Maintenance Trust Fund has passed, the Big Push has passed, and today we will be passing this one. Finally, my thought on the road issues. Quick one. The road issues. You know, the issue the road minister is having is that the previous government spread itself thin across the country. So many roads awarded at the time, but only few were completed. And now the policy shift is that unless there is a funding for road, don't award the contract. And Sidi, the most important thing here is that for road, if you award and you are not able to complete, let me use my road, Ghc10m Road. Adam was on the road. At that time, the contract sum was around 200 million. He did the earthworks, he did drains, he did everything, put the first coat. He did not complete. The road was abandoned. Now, when the road was awarded in December, on specifically 11th, the contract sum is 800 million, 4 times. So what are we doing to ourselves? When projects delay, 1, inflation comes in. 2, the works that have previously been undertaken, you have to go back and do again. And the government has to pay for that as well. And again,
so this was supposed to be our initial reflections for us. And because you were talking of important things from Parliament, I let you explain to us, it's very important that we understand what our legislators are doing, but we have to give room for others to also reflect. And I'll come to you, in the course of discussing the actual stories from the newspapers, you can get to shine more light on these things.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you. And it's a good time to welcome Matthew Nyindam. He's Member of Parliament for Pandai. Welcome, sir, to the conversation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning to my friends. Some I haven't seen for a very long time. Some too maybe for the first time.
Right.
And good morning to the good people of Pandai.
All right.
And then my friend.
Yeah, your colleague in Parliament.
My colleague, yes.
Okay, so I'll come back to you for your reflections. I want to give Dr. Benny the time to reflect on any topical issue that has caught your attention so far. Doc?
Good morning, and thank you very much for the chance to speak on these issues. The one that jumps at me straight away is that of the issue in Ivory Coast, where Mr. Ouattara is looking for a 4th term. He's 83, and I'm not too sure exactly what he believes that he
African leaders
will contribute to the situation in Ivory Coast. But as my brother just said over there, there's a rampant spate of African leaders who refuse to hand over power. I think the president of Cameroon is also looking for another one.
And he can barely walk.
I know. Which is.
I get really upset about these things.
He's 92 years.
Exactly.
And he's going for 8th term. He's
Exactly.
been in office for over 40 years, going for 8th, not 4th.
He's as old as Ghana's parliament.
92 years,
which is
and he's going for 8th term.
Which is sad. But on the issue of the roads, I would suggest and I would appeal to the Ghana Police Service, as we've just all these efforts being made on the roads. The Accra-Tema motorway is just such a nightmare in terms of policing, and there are various stations now on that road. People stop and cross, and people actually specifically go and pick up, cars. They go and stop cars and hail them down and go on to it, which is strange for a motorway because it should be a very sanitized environment.
Yeah.
Where
in fact, I'm not taking the wind out of your sail. Right after the Accra Mall, you load there now, going to the Volta region and the rest.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to be part of the highway. So,
exactly.
Case in point.
So hopefully that will be picked up.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Asha Benny. And Mr. Nyindam, it's time for us to hear your thoughts for us before we get into the newspapers.
That's okay. That's okay. Good morning once again, and good morning to the good people of Pandai. I think that straight away, I will want to once again appeal to the government of the day. It has to do with Boku, and they should pay much attention to Boku. Because if you listen to the young men and the people in Boku, they are just asking for one thing, a promise that was made in 2024 should be fulfilled. If you listen to all the press conferences that are coming from there, they are just telling the government that you came to tell us A, B, C, D, and we think that it's long overdue. We want you to come and fulfill your promise because lives have lost, and we are seeing a lot of people outside Boku that have been killed. And I think that is a worrying situation for all of us. So I think that my first appeal is to the government of the day to sit up. Okay. Then my friend also, sometimes these people, my problem I have with the NDC people is that when they pick a story, the way they try to paint the story, as if something new has happened. This road fund will be with road fund. Road fund is not new. It is just that there were some amendments that has to be made, and you brought it to Parliament. This social protesting thing, it's just trying to merge most of the social interventions, which include leave and other payments that we do to the vulnerable. That's what we are talking about. This Mahama Care or whatever you talk about, it is just a subset of NHIS. That's what you have done. What have they done? You are taking money from health insurance and creating a different fund and go and put the money there. That is all.
So what's the point? That they shouldn't hammer on the actions from this administration?
Not that. The way they paint the picture as if that they've done something extraordinary.
Oh.
It is not.
Right.
It is not extraordinary.
So they let us put this on record.
It is not extraordinary.
For education people that there is a difference between the road fund and the road maintenance trust fund. Because the road fund, that was there.
Yes.
Did you see any maintenance on our route?
No,
you see, let me tell you this. The difference is, the road fund was a big basket.
Yes.
Money comes in for all the various activities on the route.
Yes.
They could even use some to start new routes.
Yes.
But this one is dedicated because now the president is saying our oil revenues, royalties that accrue from our minerals, going into the big push. So we're spending money to do new routes. But after we've done them, maintenance culture has been the issue across all sectors. So roads in particular, let us have dedicated funding for maintenance. So nobody goes to dip a sand to use that to construct new road or for any other project. And the differences, you are very much aware. 40% of what accrues into the road maintenance trust fund will go to the constituencies. Every constituency will have a share. For me, I don't remember any time I saw any allocation to deal with road maintenance in my constituency. So that is the difference.
That is where
so that we get money, dedicated money to deal with maintenance.
You have made your point. What I'm saying is that road fund has existed. And the object, the main...
This is road maintenance. Road fund is different from
road maintenance. We have about 40 minutes for this segment, yes. Right? And so when one person is speaking, let's all listen.
Exactly.
If you want to make a point, you can note it down, and then when it's your time, you
Thank
get
you
to
for saving me.
Well. Okay.
Thank you
so
for saving me. So we
understand your explanation of the difference between the road fund and the maintenance fund. So what are you saying?
Yes, so what I'm saying is that the road fund has been in existence. It is just that some ministers abuse it. And this time around, there have been some amendments, just like he has said, that this time we are making sure that 40% of the road fund goes to rural communities. Those days, everything was saturated, whether Accra, Greater Accra, Kumasi, I mean the big cities. They were people that benefited from this particular road fund. But this time around, they are making 40% available to all constituencies, which is a good thing. So I'm just telling him that it is an amendment we are making to the road fund. It is not something new they are bringing. That's just the point I'm making.
That takes us straight into the daily graphic. On the front page, Boku violence deliberate. President Mahama directs peace enforcement. Bank of Ghana drops policy rates to 25. And KNUST, University of, I think, Energy and Natural Resources, qualify for TBSC quarterfinals. GPCC calls for peaceful by-election in Akwetia. And I want us to start from Boku because it's still very topical. I've listened to security analysts. I've listened to people from, Boku, people who observe and mediate conflict say that it looks like this is intentional. And it looks like some warpreneurs are benefiting from the conflict and the violence we're seeing, which is why they are unwilling to come to the table and actually let peace prevail. And this is what President is saying, that it's no longer peacekeeping, it's peace enforcement. Just a bit of details. Recent peace efforts to end the decades-long intertribal conflict appeared to have neared a full agreement until recent fatal attacks, including the killing of a Kusasi chief. So that's that on Boku. Gentlemen, note this for me. I'll come to you for your reflections. Let me get into the papers and find two more stories so we can have a comprehensive conversation. There's a story here about Bank of Ghana drops policy rates to 25%, which is interesting because they're saying that 300 basis points cut is the largest seen in the history of the central bank. And the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has cut the rate at which it lends to commercial banks, otherwise known as the policy rate, by 300 basis points to 25%, the biggest reduction in inflation targeting started in May 2007. This means that banks can now borrow money to lenders with lower interest rates. So that's the second story I want us to focus on. And then, of course, let's talk about Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire. It was only you who had a bite on this, and I think it's important because it's right here. And we've seen what's happening in the Sahel. We've seen what's happening in Burkina, Mali, and Niger, and it's very close. I keep saying that Cote d'Ivoire is bordered to the north by Mali and Burkina Faso. And if we are not careful, yesterday I think one of our guests was telling us that ECOWAS and the AU have to lead the charge to sort of speak to this man, let him understand that he's risking the democracy of that country. But what do you think of that? So three major stories. What's happening in Cote d'Ivoire, the Boku violence that people are saying is deliberate, and then, of course, the drop in policy rates to 25%, the biggest reduction we've seen so far. I want to start with you, Dr. Asha. You're a political analyst, so let's hear your thoughts for us first.
Well, let me start with the bank policy rate cut. This is a supply-side move by the Bank of Ghana, which hopefully will trigger real measurable reduction in the interest rates that commercial banks lend to the commercial banks are going to get a lower interest rate in terms of the facilities that they get from the Bank of Ghana. Hopefully, now the fact that they can get it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to transfer it over to the consumer on the ground. It's hoped that they would do that because sometimes what commercial banks do is that they get such a benefit and they don't necessarily pass it on to the consumer. Of course, they have to make a profit, so they wouldn't go as low as the facility they get from the Bank of Ghana. But it should filter through so that when you go to the commercial bank to get a loan, then it comes at a lower interest rate so that a business person can then have the finances to be able to invest and then increase, you know, to trigger the multiplier effect, so that the economy can grow. So hopefully the commercial banks will benefit from this and will be able to translate it into the onto the ground in the economy.
Right. Thank you. And on the Boku violence,
it's a real shame. It's a real shame that we have to grapple with this in 2025 as a nation. That we are, you know, physically hacking at people. It is in this day and age that such a conflict has been so intractable as to threaten the very security and the sanctity of Ghana's sovereignty. I'm not sure how this is to be dealt with. Hopefully, the new administration has some, you know, a complex of solutions, but it comes down to deep-seated, you know, tribalistic tendencies on Ghana's amongst Ghanaians, you know, which escalates into these things. I mean, to go into a secondary school and to kill learners, you know, who probably don't even. I heard it was a mistake. They assumed that this person was in a certain faction and went over to do this. It's a real shame, and I hope that the security forces will come out with a good, solid pathway by which we can solve these issues. So,
Mr. Chedria, this morning, Mr. Nyindam said that the president made some promises in the lead up to election 2024 on how he intends to resolve the conflict in Boku. And it's been 6 or 7 months down the line, and looks like we're just seeing the tensions escalate. And this has been the process. At one point, we think, okay, there's relative calm and peace in the region. And the next minute, you're hearing of someone who's been shot dead or someone who's been, you know, gutted like a fish. But it looks like it's a, you know, non-ending cycle. We keep coming back to the same thing. What is the challenge? To the best of your knowledge, what is the challenge in actually bringing some finality to this matter? And on the background of the promises that the president made before assuming office?
Sweetie, I will plead with my brother here that we should not be doing politics with the Boku issue. And to be very honest, I have restrained myself from commenting on issues in Boku because the issues are so complicated. If you don't have in-depth knowledge about what is happening, if you don't come from that place, it is very difficult. And it's very easy to simplify issues. You ask yourself, why has this conflict been on since 1957? It started in 1957 and up to date. So we ask ourselves, it's a very complicated issue that I will call for peace. I will call for restraint from all parties. But I will plead that politicians should stay clear from issues in Boku, because we all want peace in Boku. I don't want to go into details of issues, and I don't want to pretend I know the complexities of the issues in Boku. But what we all know, lack of peace in one part of this country affects peace throughout this country. And we should all be very measured, we should all be very decorous, and we should show empathy to the good people of Boku when we're discussing this very, very sensitive national issue. So I will put that one to rest.
Right.
And look at the case of the Cote d'Ivoire. But I do want to find out,
yes, we will go there, but I want to find out from, do you think that the recent escalation of tensions in that area, especially the students who have to be evacuated, you know that WASI starts next week.
Exactly.
And some of these Form 3 students have to write the exam. We spoke to GES and the rest, and they say that they're trying to find a way to settle them, bring some sort of normalcy before they write the exam, give them all the support that they need. But I guess I'm asking, do you think what we are seeing right now undermines the efforts of the Otumfuo Mediation Committee? Because at the beginning of this administration's time, the president went to Boku. We've seen so many efforts. We've seen, you know, some sort of briefing, all the security, Reg6 and the rest come together, but we're still here.
just when we all thought resolution was on site, then the issues flared up again. So it's quite disappointing, very, very disappointing. And we know the conflict affects virtually everything in Boku, virtually everything. Education, healthcare delivery, agriculture, and almost everything in Boku. That's why we are appealing for restraint.
Okay, I understand you don't want to get, you don't want
so
to. So it's fine. Let's move on.
It's just
this is what the president is saying, that is deliberate. It's some people who deliberately don't want to, see this come to an end. It's even here in the newspaper. President John Dramani Mahama stated that the recent surge in violence in Boku represents a deliberate attempt to undermine ongoing peace negotiations. I wanted to pick
that's why I said just when we thought Otumfuo was on the verge of securing peace for the good people of Boku, just like he led eminent chiefs to secure one in Yendi. We thought he was going to do this one. And until recent spate of killings, everything was under control.
Okay.
So when President says probably some people are benefiting from the conflict and would want it to be in perpetuity, otherwise you begin to worry why. But as I said, let us appeal for peace. Okay. And let me move quickly to Cote d'Ivoire issue. I think the biggest chunk of the blame should be placed on ECOWAS, on AU, and the rest. Because when these things are coming up, they should rein in those leaders. Cote d'Ivoire going for 4th term, and AU, ECOWAS will sit aloof, unconcerned. When conflict comes, then they begin to step in. I think these are issues we need to address. Look at what is happening in Cameroon. 92-year-old president is going for 8th term. 8th term. And you see, over 80 people filed for the presidential race, 80. And all have been disqualified except 11, including the major opposition leader who came second in the last election has been taken out of the race. And only 12 people are now going out of the 80 plus. And the president, 92-year-old, is going for 8th term. I think these are some of the reasons why our Western partners sometimes make some derogatory remarks about our democracy. Democracy is about the will of the people. It is not about imposition of leaders on the people. So I think ECOWAS, AU should be very tough and rein in leaders who want to be in office in perpetuity. Now on the policy rate, my very good friend talked about it. Our concern is to translate the gains the banks will be making to the customers. And I keep talking about financing is key to the development of this country. Let me go to my constituency. Over 5,000 people are involved in tomato production. They borrow from banks at a rate sometimes over 30%. That is inimical to productivity in that area because they cannot do much with the money they get. And if you're paying 30% per annum, it is very difficult to make any meaningful profit. So it's very important the gains we are making in this country. Virtually all economic indicators are coming down, and that should reflect in the interest rates banks will be giving to customers so that we can kickstart industrialization. You know, without funding, and that's the disadvantage we have in our part of the world. Why is our businessmen are borrowing over 20, 30%? Our counterparts elsewhere in Europe, America, borrowing sometimes as low as 2-5%. And how can you compete globally when the interest rate is that high? So the gains should be translated. And I'm very confident what we're seeing from the economic indicators, the interest rate will be coming down further and further. Even
One of
now,
the papers this morning carries that story. I don't know who has it, about how it looks like the macro indicators are only looking good on paper. It doesn't actually translate into. And if you could just check the front page of the paper.
Has it not translated
into the pockets of
Has it not translated into fuel prices?
There it is.
Has it not translated into prices of?
Just let me get the story out.
It says that food prices decline. Good. Some consumers in Accra yet to feel it.
Yeah, so I did read right. So they're saying that food prices decline, but consumers cannot feel it. I'm just linking it to what we are seeing in the policy rate reduction. See, they're saying that we should make sure that it actually reaches the beneficiaries, which is the ordinary people who want to go and borrow. The same thing with the inflation, year to year, month on month. It should actually reflect in our pockets. I'm just giving you another angle.
And Sweetie, you know, the last time I was here, I made this passionate, patriotic call to Ghanaians that businessmen should let this reflect. You see, importers.
Please make this a final point.
I mean, importers deal in, say, dollars, let's put it. Dollar now, $1 to about just 10, 11 cities down. Fuel prices down. Port duties down. So why can't we let that reflect in the pockets of the people by reducing our prices? And I want to commend the roads minister. Last 3 days, he made this call to all Ghanaians that cement producing companies who want to be part of the big push should look at their prices. Because cement, for instance, the major component is clinker. Clinker is imported in dollars. Dollar rate is down. Duties down. So why is cement price still high, 120 cities? I mean, so we should let that reflect in the pockets of the people.
Okay. Mr. Yindam, let's hear you out on all these vexed matters.
Yes. I think that I want to approach this Boku issue as a very patriotic Ghanaian and then a very patriotic Northerner. But to add that, if you listen to our colleagues from the NDC side today, communicators generally, they try as much as possible to say we should not politicize this matter, which I agree. But unfortunately, there is a path that has been created by them in the 2024 elections. And it was, the Boku issues was purely politics. That is the path they created.
How did they create this path?
Because whatever they said about Boku has to do with politics, including our sitting president today. And he was not just a candidate. He was a former president, okay, who has governed this country for 4 years or even more, because from the vice presidency to the presidency and re-elected as the president. So if you listen to the communication, everything about Boku prior to 2024 election was politics. But today, they are trying so hard to let everybody, including me sitting down here, that we should not politicize it. But unfortunately, the road that we are walking on has already been politicized. If you listen to the cry from Boku, including their constituency executives who came together to do a press conference, they just called on them. And I listened to the press conference very well. They said that before the elections, we were told that some party, which was MPP, if we are in government, then the Boku conflict escalates. But if NDC is in power, automatically the Boku conflict ended. This was the West, if not directly quoting West, this was the West of the president today. So the press conference that their people held, this was stated. Okay, so they just asked them that, please, what you told us, don't disappoint us. And we are getting disappointed because you've been in government for almost 6 to 7 months now, and we are not seeing anything. This is what they said. And some of these things, we heard it. It's not like somebody is trying to politicize the matter. But if you grow maize, you don't expect to harvest anything. You only harvest maize. If you plant yams, you will get yams. And if you're a tomato farmer, like you said, you only pluck tomatoes. So what they planted in 2024, it is just what we are harvesting.
But is that the way to go?
That is
at this point where we realize that
that's not the way to go.
Okay.
No, that's not the way to go, sweetie. Okay. But they should not say we should not politicize it, as if somebody deliberately is politicizing the Boku conflict. He's mentioned one important thing, and I heard yesterday the majority leader talked about it, that this conflict started somewhere in 1957. 1957. So it's not today.
And in between all the, the progression of the years, we've had peace in.
Sometimes you get relative peace.
10 years or so, you don't hear anything,
yes.
and
so,
then it comes
so,
back
so
again.
So
Mr. Kingdom, help us bring some calmness or sanity
I don't have
to the
a problem,
matter.
my dear.
What are you saying?
My dear, I have said it before, and I will get there. You just read what the president said. Can you please read that one again? About the Boku conflict?
Right.
Yes.
He says that the recent surge in the violence represents a deliberate attempt to undermine ongoing peace negotiations.
So when you say this, it doesn't help us. He's the president. See, you are supposed to confront the issue head on. You cannot sit as a president with all the powers and still think that some people are undermining the progress that you are making. You see, when you say this, you open up for all of us to begin to say certain things. But I sincerely believe that, and I want to appeal to the people there, Boku, my proud Northerners, that don't rely on anybody. The conflict in Boku can only be solved by the people in Boku. That is my appeal to them. If it is about we politicians, we, including me, if they want to depend on us, we will keep failing them. We will keep failing because whatever we tell them during campaign, when we get the power, we are disabled to implement whatever we told them.
Having said that, this new strategy that this Mahama administration is using.
What is the new strategy?
Tightening security, beefing up, moving from peacekeeping efforts to peace enforcement.
These are West. These are just West.
No. So they don't do anything.
They go there to keep peace. Exactly. The military will be there. The police will be there. But is that the solution to the problem, my dear? That's not the solution. You are just keeping peace. That's it. You are maintaining or whatever word you want to use. That's what you are doing. But that is not the problem. That's not the solution to the problem.
So the solution is...
Let's deal with the root cause. And the root cause, like I said, the Ashanti will say that the heavens will help those who help themselves. Okay? That's what I'm appealing to them. Because these people we are talking about, they are one people. The Mampusis and the Kusasi people are one people. If you go to a house today, if I'm a Kusasi, for all you know, I'm married to a Mampusi. If you go to this man's house and it's a Mampusi, for all you know, he's married to a Kusasi. And their offspring they are interrelated. They are the same people there. So my appeal to them that, look, if we keep deceiving you, stop deceiving yourselves. If we, the politicians, keep deceiving you, stop deceiving yourselves. Come together as one.
Do you believe that there are actually merchants of war who are benefiting from the conflict in that region?
You see, if you do something about conflicts, and if you study conflict, obviously there are people who are making a lot of money from this. People sell ammunition.
So there are some powers at play that are deliberately trying to not bring peace to Boku and its environs.
I'm just telling you that if you study conflict and conflict resolutions, there are people who are benefiting from conflict. There are people who wish and pray that this conflict continues because they know what they earn from it. Okay. So that one is not denied. I can't deny it. It's a fact. Okay. And we must all agree. Okay. But as we see today, we cannot be arrogating our responsibility and hanging it on people who are profiting from them. We are supposed to deal with it.
Finally, there's this school of thought that perhaps we should just remove everybody from that area.
Oh, but how are you going to do it?
No,
it is not possible.
It's a suggestion.
No, the conflict it will spread everywhere.
Really?
So it will spread everywhere.
Okay.
But I think that if we all as a nation, including the people of Boku, one, forget about we the politicians. We have one interest. How to get our votes. That's our interest. This man, that's his interest, including me, including this man, Afro-Franto man. That's what he's also interested in. But there are people who genuinely are not politicians. Okay, they should go there, manage, and bring cool heads together.
Like what Otunfo is doing.
Yes, I agree with Otunfo's chapter. Are you getting me?
Right.
But Otunfo has been involved in this not today. Oh.
Are you saying it's time to switch it up because he's not actually bringing you the results that you want to be seeing?
I think that if it will help all of us, even public comments on this Boku issue should cease.
Thank you. Let's end on that note. Nana Osapong.
No, I haven't talked about the policy.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Why? You gave this man all the time.
You spend all your time on. You spend all your time on
people in government. You want to favor them. This man spoke all
I'm
this.
sorry. That's not what's happening.
This is
so on that for you.
This is emotional blackmail.
Yes, you are.
It didn't work, but
this is your mischief.
Yes. And I was still listening to you anyway. Let's go. Yeah.
Yes, I would want to start from where leader ended. I mean, it is hard time that we are able to put an end to the media commentary on the issues of Boku. Media on end-journalism, reportage on conflicts have the tendencies of fueling the conflicts in areas, especially when the reporters and the media houses do not have the skills to be able to report. I am not saying that the media in Ghana that they do not train their people, but Sweetie, you and I would agree that media goes beyond the walls of Joy News TV and your people. There are a lot of online reportage. Yeah. There are a lot of social media commentators. And yesterday on one of the platforms, was on Tuesday, I made a special appeal to my brother who is at the National Signals Bureau, Dr. Atta, he's doing all he can, but he should liaise properly with the National Security and the IGP so that they monitor the social media handles of persons who are actors in this conflict. They no longer go to sit in person to take plans. They push in their comments on social media. They do this TikTok live thing, and they fuel the tension in Boku. All right, they tease each other on social media, and it fuels this whole conflict matter. We should look at that angle so that we are able to bring an end to media commentary. But sweetie, leaders spoke a lot, and from where I sit today, I see the Boku conflict go beyond elements of politics, elements of chieftaincy, elements of land dispute. And I see the economic angle in the Boku conflict. You made mention in your introduction or your preamble to this particular topic that there are people who do business and they benefit out of what is happening in Boku. Leader also confirmed it. That goes to confirm what the president has stated, that what is happening in Boku are people who are undermining. Why? Because they are enjoying some goodies from what is happening up north. Sweetie, let's not also forget that Boku is a border town. And Leader has been a businessman for a very long time.
No. That one they got it wrong.
Who your business?
Business kakra in kitchen. That's not small ones.
You don't want to expose yourself.
No. That's not small ones.
But for a long time, the emphasis is on a long time.
On a long time.
Yes.
And nickname.
Oh, you can proceed.
So Stuga also comes from Brekum. And Brekum is not far from Doma. And those enclaves are a border town. And they can attest how busy these towns are and how business runs around in these areas. And these are the same towns around the borderline that we have a lot of smuggling going on. And people who are involved in smuggling would always want a certain level of instability to be able to divert attention of security onto other matters so that they can have a free day to trade. So let us not just look at what is happening as being political or as being chieftaincy or as being a land dispute. Let us also look at those angles.
Right.
And just to put some emphasis on, it's not just a play of words. If you study the conflict crisis management, as leader was saying, peacekeeping is very much different from peace enforcement. Peace enforcement is the use of military force. And mostly in peace enforcement, they try to put it in phases. Yesterday or so, I made a statement on one of the networks. I said that with what is happening in Boku, the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces has made a statement, and he has made it very clear that indeed he is convinced that some people are undermining the peace process. And so once we are pushing in for a peace enforcement, they shouldn't do it in phases. They should go for it in full force.
Right.
Because, you see, Boku and its environs, they are less than 500,000 people. And they are holding the whole country to ransom.
Okay.
You understand?
So,
me?
yeah.
While the Asante Hini's negotiation or mediation, process is still ongoing, they should go into a full force peace enforcement. And I believe that the people of Boku would reason with us. Now,
hopefully,
a quick one on the policy rate. Sweetie, a lot of factors go into determining the policy rate. Issues of inflation, the risk that is involved, the operational and administrative cost that is involved in giving out credit and all of that. And currently, as we speak, all of these indicators that go into informed policy rating are very much stabilized. Now, what is happening, as Doug made mention, they are in the academia and they would agree with us that when these indicators are stabilized, okay, it's supposed to have a direct impact on the policy, which is supposed to be reflecting on the open market. Now, it is lack of patriotism, let me put it that way, that would make an organization, a bank in Ghana, go to borrow at a lower rate in Bank of Ghana or from another bank. And yet, with this stabilization in our economic indicators, we still want to price their loans higher. Sweetie, you see?
Have we reached there yet? Stabilize economy?
Oh, of course. Okay. If you still have the inflation rate dropping down, I've forgotten the figure, I think it's around 13, or is it 14?
Inflation.
Yeah. Yes. If you would have your dollar rate stabilizing between 10, 50, 11,
right. Okay.
If you would have the risk, all right, in the market.
I just wanted you to be clear because you said that in this stabilized economy,
from January to this time,
right.
I think we have experienced some level of stability.
Okay.
And mostly what they they hide behind to still keep these high prices is that their projections and their expectations are still not well informed. But sweetie, from January up until now, you tell me that your projections and your expectations are still not being well informed as an organization, as an institution, as a bank, whatsoever, then you are not helping us.
Oh, wow.
We are moving into an industrial,
right.
We are trying to industrialize our economy.
Okay.
And in doing that, we would need access to soft and cheap loans. Because if somebody is in the neighboring country and is receiving a facility within the ranges of 6 or 4 to 10, and you are in Ghana and you are receiving between 25 to 28, the person will definitely have an added advantage over you.
Okay,
I mean,
so let's put a pin in for now and get to other stories. I want us to, there are so many newspapers here, and I know that you all have like a big story you want to get into. I want to start with the overseer. Or is that the overseer?
Yes,
yes, that's the overseer. Yeah.
This one?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's here. Days of uncontrolled contract awards are over. Rose Minister. You want me to give you all the headlines?
All the headlines, and then whichever story peaks.
Then the ADB records 250 million profit in 6 months. And then the 2025 tertiary scholarship scheme launched by Scholarship Secretariat. Then Minister of Lands and Natural Resources dismisses claims of $1.2 billion bauxite lease cancellation to Rockshore. Then Akutia by-election set for September 2nd, nominations open August 11th to 13th. Then is it NACO hands over $1.7 million worth of seized gold to Gold Board?
NACO?
Yes, NACO.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Now, to the big story, which is the days of uncontrolled contract awards are over. I think that I want to agree with him. It's not just about Rose only. I have realized that most at times contracts comes to a standstill because we really don't have, let me say, dedicated fund to fund some of those projects. And if you have been in Parliament for some time, you realize that the road sector, everybody is complaining about roads. Sometimes I don't fault the road minister. We are talking about 276 MPs. And every MP will want his or her roads tackled. So you go to the road minister, you make appeal, you follow up. Human as he is, sometimes he's tempted to award some kilometers of road in your constituency for you, just to make sure that he satisfies you. The contractor gets to site, but unfortunately, funding is not available. And you can see that most projects are stalled projects, suffering because there's inadequate funding. So where I agree with him is that we must try as much as possible to put a stop to some of these things if funding is not available. Because you start a road, you do some significant work, unfortunately the road is not completed because the contractor has not been paid. And then all the gains you've made within some years is eroded. So the money that you have pumped into that project comes back to zero. So on that score, I agree with him that he must look at it critically so that if funding is not available, it's better we don't go ahead to award those roads. I also want to urge him that those roads that have already been awarded, he should try to finish them instead of starting the new ones they claim they are starting. That's the problem we have in this country. Everybody wants to make a name on his own. A government starts a project, very laudable projects, because there's been change of government. They have fear of whatever reason. If they complete that project, they will say, oh, it is this government that has started it. So they abandon that project. They start their own project. Unfortunately, if they don't also finish that project and a new government comes, we also abandon that project. Go. You see, it doesn't help anybody.
Why do you think we do that?
That's what I'm saying. That it is.
You hear in the news that the NDC administration will say that we are doing this, and then MPP comes to say, give us credit for it. You know, you don't just bastardize us for the bad, but where there's credits, give us credit. And why do you think politicians are obsessed with taking credit for, you know, government actions that necessarily don't have to be something we have to fight over? But why? You're a politician.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that as a politician, everybody wants to be mentioned. Okay. So it is just like a name.
It's to cut favor in the eye of the public. or voters?
Maybe voters, because everybody has a name, so you want to be mentioned. So if, and I think the late President John Evans Atta-Mills, he did it beautifully. And I thought that maybe we could have continued from that chapter, because the N1, that was started from Kufuor's era. When that project got completed, he even wrote to Kufuor to come and join him do that ceremonial, opening of that road. It's everybody want to be mentioned. But if we don't behave that way, you go out there, you see a lot of stock projects. And you see, the money that we've sunk into that project is not for the president, it's for the nation.
What's the solution?
My solution is that he should try, like I said, to complete all projects that have been awarded.
No, but that's for the roads. What is the solution to politicians or administrations abandoning projects from the erstwhile administration? What's the solution?
The solution is that they should stop it and continue. That is the only way.
How about incorporating the National Development Plan or planning committee or commission or so, and then sort of aligning whatever manifesto you came into power with,
that is a long thing. That thing is a long chapter.
Should we not be looking at more permanent solutions to these problems?
I've always said that. We've had NDPC, not today. NDPC has been there. But parties are elected on their manifesto. Every party, there's a social contract between you and the people. So they give you power on that particular manifesto. You cannot take that away. If you get the opportunity to govern, it doesn't mean that you should just go straightly by only your manifesto. There are areas that you have to complete, because if you complete them, credit still comes to you. Me, when I got the opportunity to become an MP, my predecessor, he started some projects in my constituency. I never abandoned them. I completed all those projects and started my own project. If I complete your project, I commission the project. Whether your name is there or your name is not there, I don't care. The people will give me the credit.
You see, Mr. my point is, you're saying this now.
I have said it before. I've been saying it,
that's not the point.
Maybe on this platform.
Let me intervene briefly.
Hold on a second. I'll come right to you.
On that very important one.
I'm saying that in the next 2-3 years, another politician will sit here and say the exact same thing. In the next decade or so, we'll come back to the same issue. So I'm looking for solutions. Is this something we should back by law and say that do not abandon project? Where do we start to see an end in sight?
I want to agree with you when you say back by law.
Yeah.
I want to agree with you on that basis, backed by law. That I agree. That maybe Parliament should be looking at something that we come up with laws that will protect these uncompleted projects. That every government, if you come, ABC project you have to complete it.
Okay.
That I agree with you.
Let me listen to you.
You were looking for solutions.
Yes, I'm looking for solutions.
Let us put on record that President Mahama has provided a comprehensive solution to this problem. If you look at all the routes captured, in fact, he has directed the sector ministers to continue with the project started by the SY administration. At the district assemblies level, the common fund, that was sent for the first quarter. There was specific instruction that take 20%, ring and fence 20%. Every time the money comes, 20% don't touch. Use it to complete projects that were started by the previous administration. And in this, so at the district level, that is the solution. So the president is committed to that. At the road sector, the minister was in the parliament. And if you look at this budget, the review, about 60–70% of the roads captured are roads that are ongoing. So it is not a matter of abandoning the previous roads and starting new ones. Let me state here emphatically that the almighty Ghc10m sample road that I have been touting about this government trying to do it and claiming credit for it, the contract was awarded on the 11th December.
Right.
After the election, and it was abandoned, no funding for it. When this government came, the government is not saying it was awarded by the previous government, so I'm abandoning it. So it is never true that this government is abandoned or President Mahama
who said that?
Has given specific instructions.
Who said that?
And that is exactly what is going on. So for these roads, my brother, you know, look at the roads.
Most of them. The conversation has not been accusing you of abandoning projects. It's about how we can stop.
And I said the president has already provided solution because he's giving direct instructions. And in fact, the spending guidelines at the district assemblies says every district assembly's common fund that comes in, take 20% out, look for projects. So now, there were 3 projects. 1 classroom block in Chenchemum, 1 at Domfete, then a market at Jemdede in my district. When the common fund hit the account, the DCE called me, did the calculation, took that amount and said it was going into these projects. And that alone was in excess of 300,000 every quarter. So we would never abandon any project.
And that is the policy of this administration is committed to continuing projects. Thank you.
So should I take my own finder?
Yes, your own finder. But I want to do this briefly. We have Martin Pebu online, and we don't have him for long.
Okay.
And this is important that we get the legal mind to talk about this. The Ato Essien case, right? The story is on myjoyonline.com, and it's also in the Daily Graphic. And I just want to read from myjoyonline.com. Obviously, I'm more biased. So the Court of Appeal has granted 10 million Ghana cedis bail with 2 sureties to William Ato Essien. That is the former managing director and founder of the now-defunct Capital Bank. He seeks to appeal his 15-year prison term for causing financial loss to the state. Earlier this week, we listened to Godfrey Dami, who was actually requesting or demanding this be a possibility. Now it has materialized. Martin Pebu is a lawyer and he's very vocal when it comes to legal issues of national concern. So let's hear him out on this matter. And he's also a member of the Operation Recover or Loot. Martin Pebu, it's good to have you on the AM show this morning. So, I mean, from both sides, how do you think they are receiving this news? And in terms of the legal understanding or impact of this, we'll hear a lot of people talk about precedent and how this nolli prosequi is going to come back and bite some people in the back. But let's hear you on this matter briefly for us.
Yeah, so specifically, Ato Essien zone, there's no nolli prosequi in this case.
Yes.
He has an appeal. You know, Ato Essien zone was the one that he promised to pay 90 million cedis back. Capital Bank took liquidity support, and then among others, he used that liquidity support to go and start a new company, and etc. Right? Then eventually he agreed with the AG that he will pay 90 million. Then out of the 90 million, he paid between 27 and 30 million. Some say 27, others say 30 million. So we can use whichever one. Let's even say 30 million. Okay, then when it was due for him to pay the balance, he defaulted because he ended up paying only 9 million. He sought several extensions, but eventually couldn't redeem himself. So at the end of the day, Justice Chebafo had to sentence him, right? So Ato Essien's case is totally different from the nolli prosequi entered in the case of Dufour. They are totally different. Ato Essien's case, the case was concluded and he was convicted. He was convicted. He himself accepted it and said he would pay 90 million. Ato Essien is a businessman. Sweetie, this is not a novice. He came to the table and negotiated over several months that he will pay 90 million cedis. He is not a spring chicken. At least, he was known to have done business. He was all over Ghana, speeches, etc. So if you go and promise 90 million, the time comes that pay 90 million, then you say no, you can't pay, etc. It's a different case. So he was sentenced accordingly. Now, let's come to the bail. Please, the law on bail, this particular law that was used for him, that he got bail even though his appeal is pending, is an old law. It wasn't created for Ato Essien. No, that law is called Act 30. Its full name is the Criminal and Other Offenses into brackets Procedure Act 1960. Sweetie, its name is, it was passed in 1960, just about 3 years after independence. So it's an old law. It's not as if they made an exception for him. And that bar is a very high one. To get bail whilst your appeal is still pending, they'll look at the exceptional circumstances, etc. But you see that if you watch Ato Essien's case, before he got this bail, for some months now, every now and then you would see dispatches in the media that he's not well. Ato Essien is not well. He's asking for a pardon. Then let's go into the merits of his case. It's injustice, etc. So you see that this day was always coming because months ago he started a strategic media campaign about ill health and about injustice. And so, I mean, yesterday, for him to have gotten bail, I'm not surprised. But let's know that as we call it precedent, it also means that gradually we are increasing or expanding the frontiers of justice, okay? Yes, personal liberties. Let's note that we can always go into the agreement. When he said he will pay the balance, okay, let me finish this before we come back to the properties. So to be clear, it's not as if he's free. So, sweetie, as citizens, if you want to keep that case under tabs, what we have to do is that maybe every 3 months, then we'll ask for a review. His case is not ended. The meaning of it is that he has an appeal in the Court of Appeal. And then, because he's not well, etc., they have granted him bail. But it means he must continue the appeal. So from the way things work, generally, an appeal, I'm saying generally, I'm not in his case, so I don't know the facts of the case. Oh, anywhere between in about 9 months, if they are very, very efficient, in about 9 months, they can be done. So anytime after 9 months is a good time.
Right.
So
and Martin, while I'm following your argument and I actually understand what you're saying, there are people who are, you know, they have concerns about granting him bail, and they are saying it undermines the original agreement and the authority of the court, because at the end of the day, he still hasn't, you know, coughed up the amount of money that he promised to pay. And you're saying that the case is not over yet. And so what does this actually mean? Does it mean that he gets to leave jail, but, you know, we are going to prosecute him and try to recover the money? What does this actually mean for him and us? Because we're talking about 90 million and only 30 million or so, even if we are using the bigger estimates, 30 million or so that have been paid. Where is the 60 million, and what does it mean for Ghanaians?
Okay, yeah, sweetie. So apart from the 30 million, he subsequently paid 9. So in total, that's 39 million.
Okay, so there's still a huge chunk of money that he needs to cough up, right?
Yes, yes. So what it means is that he will leave jail, but must go through the process to finish up the appeal. Okay, so it's not meant for him to just go away and not finish. Because remember, the jail term is 15 years. So he is saying the jail term among others is too high, right? So once he says, and also let's get this very clear. Ato Essien pleaded guilty, okay? So it means that he's not running away from the fact that he did wrong. He's not running away. He himself pleaded guilty. So that one, it's almost impossible to go and throw that one out. Rather, it's the 15 years he wants cut down. So 15 years, maybe cut down to 5 years, 4 years, etc. Yeah. Now he has done 21 months. That's close to 2 years, right? So when he goes through the appeal, most probably they will reduce it, right? Yes, they will reduce it because he's paid some money. And I can also foresee that he will try and raise more money and pay. So the moment he inches closer to the 90 million, the sentence will be lower. That's why I said, for those who say it's undermined, no, I think sometimes we run ahead of ourselves, you know. The key thing we have to watch in this case is time. That's why I said, so in 3 months' time, maybe let's revisit it. You go on the ground to go and check from the registry of the court. As a media house, you see the BBC does it a lot. They go to ask for court record. You also do in Ghana.
So Martin, I want you to make an intelligent legal guess for me. What is the direction or the focus of, what is the focus or direction of this case, right? Are we focused on recovering the money owed the state, or are we focused on jailing this man? Where do you think this is going? And this is coming at a time where the Attorney General has been accused of, just clearing people because they have political favor in his eyes. So where is the direction of this one?
This one is Ato Essien's call. It's his call. The court was done and dusted with him when the court sent him in for 15 years. So this one is his call. He is saying, okay, or let's say his plea, not his call. He's not the one, partly his call and then also partly a plea, that his 15 years is too much. So what I see, where I see it going is that he will offer more money so that the jail term will be reduced. That's where it's headed for. He will bring more money. Remember that he defaulted because he said certain monies he was expected were not ready. So now, hopefully, he has raised more money. So in order to make the appeal good for him, he will offer more money to the state. That's return more money, then he will get his sentence reduced. And I'm in favor of that.
That's what we're doing now? I mean, so you pay the money you owe the state and you reduce your sentence, or you just buy your freedom? That's what it sounds like.
You see, let's be bold. Let's be bold. You see, a lot of the time, we are shooting from the hip. We are not the only country in this world. Elsewhere, yes, if you return the money, naturally, you get a far lower sentence. So let's not be swayed by emotions. Those who say so, yes, they are not tutored in the law. So let's remind them that if we had more time, we could go in and, on and explain more. But there isn't time. The fact is that the more of the money you bring, then the lesser of the sentence. That's the sentence will be reduced accordingly. And we should be happy for that. Let's not forget that, and this is very key, Ato Essien has been convicted. So today, when he's going to the American embassy for a visa or UK, etc., that form, when you fill it, they will ask, have you been convicted of a felony? He has to say yes. Then now they will look at the details and see whether they will allow him in or not. Sweetie, as you sit here, you don't have such a conviction. So generally, you don't face such a, stigma, etc. Sometimes I think it's okay because people don't know much of the law. They will make you look like everything. Sometimes you have to give up something to get another thing. It's a compromise. I'm in favor of him bringing as much of the money as possible so that the sentence will be reduced. Because look, we have people who don't get 3 square meals a day. We have people, schools under trees. Right?
So, Martin, you're saying that the law allows discretion in granting bail to a convicted person, right? After sentencing, even after he's violated a plea bargain.
Yes, since 1960. That has been the law since 1960. And those who are saying that Attorney General is just granting or filing nolly prosequi, I disagree. Yesterday we did PM Express. They should go look for it. Godfrey Dami said that this very case, the Kwabena Dufour case, he said the setting up of CBG was a criminal offense. He said the president, Oforiatta, Addison and co. committed a criminal offense in the manner in which they set up CGB to take over the assets of Unibank. He says the Dufours were treated unfairly. I have a copy of it. Sweetie, if you have time, I'll forward it to you on WhatsApp. You can read portions. Let's stop this. I think we give too much vent for people to spew political opinions.
So you see, for me, it's a matter of the ordinary Ghanaian, you see, Martin. Are you saying, what does this say about the perceived fairness of Ghana's judicial system? Are you saying an ordinary Ghanaian prisoner with a similar medical condition will be able to access this, legal remedies as Ato Essien is privileged to have access to?
Good. Yes, so once again, let's compare. We are not the only country in the world. Elsewhere, you are talking about celebrity soft justice. That's what they, decades ago in America, that's how they coined the term.
Celebrity soft justice.
Yes, celebrity soft justice.
So it backs my point. It doesn't apply to the ordinary Ghanaian.
Yes, so that's a perception. So I'm telling you that perception has always been there. As we give more education, we'll see how we'll get more ordinary Ghanaians to get it. I did a case about 2.5 years ago. He's an ordinary man. He got bail pending appeal. So maybe as and when we get bail pending appeal for ordinary men, I've just remembered another one. You know, Justice Wilson, Charles Wilson. Yeah, Kumasi, about 5 years ago, a man was accused of rape. He didn't come with a lawyer. He was brought from jail. Justice Wilson looked at him, let's say by the end of the day, Justice Wilson, okay, he's a retired High Court judge now. Right, he granted the man bail. He had no lawyer. The judge looked at the facts and admitted the man to bail pending appeal. Okay. So Martin, it's about gathering them and giving education. It's also okay, sweetie, let's be very clear. Let citizens complain. The more they complain, then the more they put us on our toes. Duty bearers are scared of, you know, bending the law to favor sections. So it's okay. The noise has its use. I mean, the only thing is that there should be more time for us to give education. That's why we don't get to give.
So in conclusion, you're saying that we shouldn't make a ceremony out of this because the laws have not been broken?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Martin Kpebu, for spending some time with us. Right. Martin Kpebu is a lawyer, and he joined us to bring us diverse perspective on this Ato Essien matter. Gentlemen, I want us to spend about 5 minutes or so on this matter because it's interesting. For me, I just do not like that the ordinary Ghanaian doesn't get the same treatment as, quote-unquote, celebrities in this country. So celebrity soft justice, you know. Yeah, but he's saying that no laws have been broken. Compared to the way the arguments that were pouring in when the Attorney General was issuing noli prosequi, that some people have brought about 60%. Now it's even under question whether or not they actually brought 60% of the monies that were owed and all that. What does this tell you? How are you receiving this news, Mr. Nindam?
Well, for the William Ato Essien, his case, I have not really followed it. I haven't followed that one.
All right.
You see, you made a very important point. You see, the public opinion is very important. And I listened to Martin too. Sometimes they don't also help us. Because in one breath, they are like this. Another breath, they are like this. They are supposed to give us their experts' opinion on all matters. When you do that, then I can follow you, and I'll be good to go. An Attorney General comes, and almost all the high-profile cases, he just decided to let it go. He just decided to enter noli prosequi. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested. So even
which he's backed by law.
There is always law to back everything.
Right.
There is always law to back everything, by the public opinion. I am not a lawyer, but sometimes I feel very uncomfortable because today all what the Attorney General is doing, and they are all blaming, they are all agreeing with him, and all the lawyers are agreeing with him. Tomorrow, if another Attorney General comes and he's doing the same thing, then we expect that they should agree with that Attorney General. Okay. It shouldn't be like the tables have turned. So today, my expert opinion on this particular matter has changed. But if you ask me, I am more interested in the recovery.
Okay, than jailing him.
Because the people even at the prisons, we are not able to feed them.
Well,
okay, so I even think that we should come out with some reforms. It's not everything that we go and throw the people there. There are people who have been in the prison camps for more than 10 years, and even their cases have not even been been heard. Okay. So let's look at, there are certain things that we, as a country, we must come out with some reforms quickly. So if this man, I have not read much about his case, he's not also feeling well, at least listening to Martin Kpebu, the interest is more of recovery, which he has accepted to pay. It's just that unfortunately, he's not been able to raise the money within the time frame, and he keeps giving excuses. At the end of the day, he has to be sentenced, and he has been sentenced. He's made some kind of appeal. He's been bailed. Let's see how the case goes. But I think that Martin Kpebu and Co should help us. They are the lawyers. They should not change position when another time comes. They should speak the way they are speaking today. Then all of us can follow them.
All right.
Yes.
Dr. Beniasha, I want to speak to you now. Politics at play. legal arguments, debate over what the law says, what powers are granted the Attorney General, and so on and so forth. But specifically on this case, drop a pin for us. What's your mind at?
Well, the key thing is that there are two issues. So there's the recovery of the money lost to the state, and then there's the punitive measures that have been dished out to that individual. Now, you have to do a cost-benefit analysis to see which one should be prioritized. Retrieval of the money is obviously the most important one, because this is money that will go into Ghana's development. So that has to be given some priority. Now, we also want a certain amount of deterrence so that people in the future will not think that they can get away with these things. But of course, the law was made for people, not people for the law. So if there are mitigating circumstances such as ill health, and then those have to be considered by the people that make the decisions. We should not, a cost-benefit analysis has to be done, because sometimes if you're not careful, you end up spending more, costing you more to pursue the case than you're actually getting from it, which then defeats the whole purpose.
True.
Because you're moved by sentiment and emotion rather than by rational thought.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chredua, on this matter, final words.
Siri, I think I tend to go with the positions of my two brothers. That recovery is very, very important. As much as we all believe that custodial sentence will serve as a deterrent, recovery is also very important. So you look at the issues case by case basis and do as much recovery as possible. For instance, let's look at recovering 90 million from Ato Essien compared with this 15-year incarceration. Which of them will be of benefit to the state? So that is why I say case by cases. In cases of, say, broad daylight thievery, stealing, impunity, sometimes you want to cage people to serve as a deterrent. But in most cases, sometimes when people are charged for causing financial loss, in the case of Dufour, if you look at all the charges, nowhere on the charge sheet has he been accused of stealing. Say his actions has contributed to loss of money. So if you can get the money, why don't we get as much as we can and move on? So for custodia, based on the circumstances, if it's broad day thievery, sometimes you need to. But in the case of Ato Essien, if you listen to Martin Pegbu, he said some private individuals, low-profile personalities have also benefited from being granted bail pending appeals, except that probably you, the media people, are interested in the profile of the personality and you don't capture these stories. So it is not a special law created for Ato Essien. It's been in existence and people are benefiting.
Okay.
So in this case, as my big brother said, if you look at the circumstances pending his incarceration, his health condition at this moment, why don't we grant the...
It's not pending, though.
Pending appeal.
Pending
appeal.
Right, okay.
Why don't we grant benefit of the doubt for being granted the bail, looking at what happens at the appeal. So I think no law has been flouted.
Okay.
Now,
Sapong, what do you make of this?
Yes,
this celebrity soft justice. Does it sit well with you?
It's across the world, all right? Yeah. And in the advanced jurisdiction, advanced world, I think is very common. And I'll give you a very everyday example, Sweetie. You are in the media space. If I am organizing a press conference today, and Leader is organizing a press conference, Joy News TV, you are invited. You know that you would want to go to that of Leader and not that of Leader.
Oh, we have enough resources that we can come for both.
Why would they go to?
Because one, he is Leader.
Okay.
2.
Yeah, but
he's an MP. 3, he has been the whip of, he's a whip of one of the major political organizations.
And I am telling you that, I'm telling you that everyone is equal before the law.
All I'm trying
you will not give preferential treatment to a politician just because.
All I'm trying to tell you is that this is very common. And also the case that is being dealt with here. The first time when I heard Ato Essien was sentenced and put to jail, I asked myself, to what benefit would it be to Ghana? Now, the fundamental ones I asked was, did he dip his hands into to pick the monies? Did he steal, as you were saying? No. What happened? Okay, the fundamentals of the case was that it was due to some managerial whatever that happened and all that. And there was a plea bargaining. Now, did he make attempts to pay the monies? Yes, he did. Did he ask for more time to pay the rest? What was the focus of Ghana, the Attorney General at the time? Was it to recover the monies or to put him to jail? All right, because even in plea bargaining, there are times that you pay all the monies that are lost and you still would have some days or some years in prison. On the other hand, the fact that you have pleaded guilty and you become an ex-convict in itself is enough a punitive measure. And
unfortunately, that's all our time.
But a quick one on the roads. A very quick one on the roads.
Back to the roads.
Oh, no, I didn't have a bite on the roads. See, I would want to say that there was a need for that road maintenance trust fund. If you had listened to the argument of leader, it is time we have specific monies that are allocated for specific purposes backed by law. So
that's what he said, that was passed in Parliament.
Yes, nobody is able to dip their hands to do whatsoever they want to do. It is very important because you would have 276 constituencies. Now, 276 constituencies, every MP would want some roads. Now, sweetie, what we should be looking at is this. These infrastructures needs to be maintained. You understand me? And when one leader was speaking, I think that aside passing that act into a bill into being an act and a law now, allocating these funds, the roads minister can also sit with the stakeholders and introduce the public-private partnership into these major commercial routes, whereby just like in other jurisdictions, like in Dubai and in Texas and other places, the private man will build that road and we will tow the roads. You understand me? And this would be done. I mean, if we want to do these things, I think that we can even encourage the Bank of Ghana and other commercial banks to also look into these areas because, sweetie, it is important.
You've made a very beautiful point. I'm sorry, but we have to go. And Mr. Chedria, please let us know the story on your front page before we go. I know you wanted to get into it, but that's
the new finder, CD up 40.7% against dollar in 7 months, and Ghana's trade surplus surges to 5.57 billion in the first half of 2025. And of course, the public debt drops by 156 billion Ghana cedis.
Okay, so those are the stories on the new finder. And I'm so glad that you got to read those stories out loud.
Yeah, because you know, the indicators have been so good for the first half of the year. And, you know, inflation dropped 24 to just 13%.
I'm sorry, that's our time. So I'll give the final word to Dr. Beniasha. What's the final thing?
23.7.
They are all wearing black today.
No, seriously.
Listen, the thing about our legislators, when they want to get into it, you can't stop them. So
the point of contention here is
there's no contention.
Inflation was 23.7%. I said 24%. Am I not right?
You ran it up.
13.7.
No, but
you have to factor in your margin of error.
Yes.
You see,
so who told you
it's
that?
not that
It's 23. Why don't you say 23?
No.
There's a point. The decimal. There's some points after the decimal, right?
Yes, so it's 23.7.
No. If in communication,
Doctor, I'll come back to you.
If it is above 0.5, you round up.
Which
Final word, please, and we go.
The final word is that, you know, as you say, politicians will play with the numbers. The indicators are looking good. I worry about how sustainable it will be.
Okay.
We hope that it is sustained.
Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us for the news review. Those who joined us for this conversation this morning, we had Matthew Nyindam. He's a legislator for Pandai. Ghc10m is Member of Parliament for Boku West. Ato Essien is from the Movement for Change. And, of course, Dr. Benny Asha is a political analyst and a lecturer at UPSA. They joined us. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we had an extended review, and it's been interesting. So when we return from the break, we get into our big stories. We'll get incisive with this Ato Essien case and so many other stories coming your way on the AM show. I'll be right back.